Good morning, I'm Paolo del Rosario. Welcome to Weather HQ. Today's headlines. Pag-asa says Ophel is now a super typhoon with signal number 5 up in the northeastern portion of mainland Cagayan. Another tropical cyclone may enter the Philippine area of responsibility tonight. In Spain, authorities issued red alerts for more heavy rains in the eastern Tarragona and Malaga provinces. More on our global weather. And a non-government organization based in Palawan pushes for land conservation and protection of the country's remaining forests. I'll speak with the Center for Sustainability Philippines representative later on in the show. Ophel is set to undergo a rapid intensification and is now a super typhoon. As of 8 a.m. today, the eye of Super Typhoon Ophel was located 165 kilometers east of southeast Tuguegarao City in Cagayan. It has a massive sustained winds of 185 kilometers per hour near the eye and gustiness of up to 230 kph. It is moving in a north-northwestward direction, slowly at a speed of 15 kph. Ophel is forecasted to move in a northwestward direction over the Philippine Sea before making landfall along the eastern coast of Cagayan or northern Isabela this afternoon. Then tonight, it will cross over Babuyan Islands and there is a possibility of a second landfall. And from its north-northwestward direction, it will turn to north-northeastward over the sea west of Batanes by tomorrow noon before making its way over the sea east of Taiwan on Saturday. So that's the path that we are expecting Ophel to take. Now, regardless of the position of the landfall point, the hazards on land and coastal waters may still be experienced in areas outside the landfall point or forecast confidence cone. Now, Pag-asa has already issued a signal number 5 in northeastern portion of mainland Cagayan, particularly in Santa Ana and Gonzaga. Residents in these areas should expect life-threatening winds of more than 185 kph. Evacuation to safer shelters should have been completed at this time because the winds are expected in at least 12 hours. Signal number 4 is up in the southeastern portion of Babuyan Islands, northern and eastern portions of mainland Cagayan, the northeastern portion of Isabela. Residents in these areas should brace themselves for strong winds of up to 184 kph in at least 12 hours. Signal number 3 is up in the rest of Babuyan Islands, the rest of Cagayan, the northern and central, as well as the southeastern portions of Isabela, northern portion of Apayao, and the northern portion of Ilocos Norte. Residents in these areas should expect gusty winds of up to 117 kph in at least 18 hours. Signal number 2 is raised in Batanes, the western and southern portions of Isabela, the northeastern portion of Quirino, the rest of Apayao, Kalinga, the northeastern portion of Abra, the eastern portion of Mountain Province, the eastern portion of Ifugao, the rest of Ilocos Norte, the northern portion of Aurora. These areas will have winds of up to 88 kph and intermittent rains are expected in at least 24 hours. Signal number 1 is up for the rest of Isabela, the rest of Quirino, Nueva Vizcaya, the rest of Mountain Province, the rest of Ifugao, the rest of Abra, the northern portion of Benguet, Ilocos Sur, the northern portion of La Union, the northern and central portions of Aurora. Winds of up to 88 kph is expected in at least 24 hours. Today, due to Super Typhoon Ophel, residents in Isabela and Cagayan will experience intense torrential rains. Now, make sure you stay vigilant because widespread incidents of flooding and landslides are expected. Heavy to intense rains are expected over in Ilocos Norte, Apayao, and Kalinga, right over there. Sorry about that, right over there. Moderate to heavy rains today in Abra, Mountain Province, Ifugao, Nueva Vizcaya, Quirino, and Aurora. Tomorrow, intense to torrential rains are possible over here in Batanes. Now, heavy to intense rains are forecasted in the Babuyan Islands. Moderate to heavy rains are expected in Ilocos Norte, mainland Cagayan, and Apayao. Now, let's take a look at the sea conditions here. Coastal waters for the northern and eastern seaboards of northern Luzon and eastern seaboards of central Luzon will have a really rough sea conditions in central Luzon and high sea conditions as well. Wave heights of up to 10 meters high are expected and possible due to strong winds brought by Typhoon Ophel. Mariners of small seacraft, including all types of motor bangkas, are advised not to venture out to sea under these conditions, especially if inexperienced or operating ill-equipped vehicles. Storm surges reaching up to 2 to 3 meters are possible in the next hours in Batanes, Ilocos Norte, Aurora, and Cagayan as well. Don't forget Isabela too, as you can see here, 2 to 3 meters from Batanes, Aurora, Ilocos Norte, Isabela, and Cagayan. And over here, you have Aurora and Ilocos Sur and parts of Ilocos Norte. Storm surges of 2 meters high are possible. Residents living near the coast are advised to be evacuated. After Super Typhoon Ophel, another threatening tropical cyclone is expected to enter the Philippine Air Responsibility. I'll move on over to this side. It's just so you all could see it. As of 3 a.m. today, the center of Tropical Storm Manny was last located 1,510 kilometers east of eastern Visayas, as you can see right over here. Now, it has a massive sustained winds of up to 85 kilometers per hour and gustiness of up to 105 kph. It is moving in a west-southwest direction at 30 kilometers per hour, as we can see its track over here. Now, the latest track, Manny, is expected to enter PAR later on tonight. It's also forecasted that Manny will intensify and become a typhoon and will cross the southern Luzon region. So you can see Manny slowly making its way here to the Philippines, and is expected to maintain its strength as it exits Philippine Air Responsibility by Monday. Now, on Saturday, due to Tropical Storm Manny, residents in northern Samar will experience heavy to intense rains. Now, this may cause flooding, especially in the low-lying areas. Moderate to heavy rains are also possible on Saturday in eastern Samar, Sorsogon, Albay, and Catanduanes, as we can see the rainfall forecast for Tropical Storm Manny, which will be called Pepito once it enters the Philippine Area of Responsibility. Now, to know more about what to expect about Typhoon Ophel and Tropical Storm Manny, we have with us on the phone weather specialist Veronica Torres. Magandang umaga, Veronica.
Good morning din po, Sir Paolo, pati na rin po sa ating mga taga-subaybay.
Well, we are seeing the rapid intensification of Typhoon Ophel gaining a bit more strength. Will it intensify into a super typhoon?
As of now, or as of 5 a.m., nag-super typhoon na po itong si Ophel at announced ito sa ating 8 a.m. po na bulletin.
Alright, so is it expected to cross extreme northern Luzon at its current strength?
Yes po, so nakikita po natin na pag landfall nito or paglapit sa landmass ng northern Luzon area, possible humina ito at maging under typhoon category na lang po.
And of course, yung possible scenarios ng Typhoon Ophel with regards to landfall, do we have any information in regards to that po?
Opo, so possible landfall this afternoon over Cagayan or northern Isabela area po.
Now, let's talk about Tropical Storm Manny. What should we expect in terms of yung track po at yung strength nila?
Opo, so we're expecting for Tropical Cyclone Manny to enter the Philippine Area of Responsibility, possibly over the weekend, or possible to enter, may enter PAR on November 14 as Pepito, and then we're seeing the landfall scenario around possible over the weekend then, or possible or around Saturday.
A bit different from the recent storms or the recent weather disturbances na southern Luzon na maapektuhan. What are the possible areas that will be affected by Tropical Storm Manny once it enters the Philippines and of course traverses the southern Luzon area?
The first area na maapektuhan nga nitong si Manny ay possibly yung eastern section ng southern Luzon at Visayas. Yung possible landfall area niya sa may southern Luzon area, mga around Bicol region as of now, pero hindi rin ruled out na maglandfall ito around eastern Visayas area. And then possible mag-exit ito ng landmass on around Sunday, possibly ang labas niya southern Luzon pa rin.
Are we expecting that this could intensify into a super typhoon?
As of now, based on our forecast analysis, highest category is typhoon. However, pag-intensify nito to super typhoon, not ruled out pa rin po.
Alright, so of course, are we expecting more this month? Because there have been quite a few already in this particular month.
At least for the next 2 weeks, nakikita natin na last pa muna itong si Manny. Sa mga afterward, wala pa naman tayong nakikita na other na posible mag-develop into a low pressure area or bagyo.
All right, so we're going to be hoping for better weather in the weeks ahead. Maraming salamat. That was Pag-asa Weather Specialist Veronica Torres for giving us an update about Typhoon Ophel and Tropical Storm Manny. When we return, we'll talk about the protection of remaining forests in the country with the representative of Center for Sustainability Philippines. Please stay tuned. Welcome back. You're still watching Weather HQ. I'm Paolo del Rosario. A woman-led youth non-government organization from Palawan is on a mission to conserve land and protect remaining forests in the country. Joining us via Zoom is the Center for Sustainability Philippines Research Program Coordinator, Aubrey Jane Padilla. Magandang umaga. Thank you very much for joining us.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning. So let's first talk about the work that you do and just how important forest preservation is. Can you give us a brief backdrop on your group and of course why this advocacy in particular?
Okay. So, hi, again, my name is Aubrey. I'm the Research Program Coordinator for CS, a women-led youth environmental organization based in Puerto Princesa City, Palawan. Our mission is to conserve land and protect the Philippines' last remaining forest through legal establishment of protected areas. So we do this through frontline community organizing with the indigenous people and local communities, leading scientific research with national and international scientists, and then with the support of local communities and the proof of science, we do political lobbying directly to the decision makers to ensure that the area is legislated on paper. So the reason for this work is that long time ago, 95% of the Philippines is covered by primary forests. But unfortunately, this has down to 3% today. And we work particularly in the island province of Palawan. Palawan is very special. It's a biosphere reserve and it's considered as the last ecological frontier of the Philippines. And approximately 50% of the original forest cover is still in the island province of Palawan. Our work focuses on 4 pillars. So we do land conservation, that is through establishment of protected area. We do reforestation through regeneration of the forest by planting native trees with the indigenous people and local communities. And then we do citizen science programs wherein we train and empower indigenous people and local communities in the area to conduct independent biodiversity monitoring. And lastly, we have a new program called Youth Leadership Incubator, wherein we mentor and support youth across the Philippines to fundraise for and lead their own conservation project in their own communities.
Aubrey, you mentioned it a while ago, only 3% remaining, your group says, in terms of pristine forests. Just so people have an idea of how big 3% actually is. Obviously, it is a much smaller number compared to yung 95% na na-mention mo a while ago. But then, yung 3% na to, how big are those areas and where are they located?
I do not have the exact number in terms of hectares, but just imagine that the whole country is 95%, the whole land of the Philippines before is covered by 95% forest. And majority of those lands are located in Palawan. There are also ones in Luzon, which is the Sierra Madre and then the Mindanao. But for CS, our work is only based here in Palawan. And yeah, so much of our efforts remain in the island.
Well, of course, I'm sure there are a few challenges you also face with regards to all of your programs. Na-mention mo na kanina, with regard to all of the work that you're doing. But in terms of the challenges that you face, what are the biggest hurdles to all of your efforts?
The biggest hurdles would be sustainability. Well, firstly, We're a small NGO. We started as a small team of 6 people that are 5 out of 6 are born and raised here in Palawan and are members of the indigenous Cuyunon and Tagpanwa tribes. In terms of challenges, I think basically it's institutionalizing our work, basically getting buy-in from the government, whether it's from the local government unit, from the national government agencies, getting them on board to sustain the project, especially the legislation, getting the management plan working for the protected area after it's been legislated. We have a lot of protected areas in the country, but only a few of them are working really on the ground where, enforcement are in place, livelihood programs are in place for the indigenous people in local communities, research are updated for all these areas. So most of these are just paper-based protected areas, and we wanted to change that, to lift all of this legislation off the page and make it a real functioning protected area in practice.
Aubrey, we're running out of time, but then before we let you go, can you, one, let us know about the impact that the group has already made so far? And of course, how can our viewers reach out to you to try and help make that impact a bit more influencing in regard to the conservation of forests in Palawan?
So our flagship project is called the Cleopatra's Needle Critical Habitat. It's the Philippines' biggest critical habitat at 41,350 hectares, roughly 2/3 the size of the National Capital Region. And currently, this is being managed by the city government of Puerto Princesa in cooperation with the stakeholders, with the communities from the barangays surrounding the Cleopatra's Needle, and of course, the non-government and private sectors. Our work at CS doesn't stop there. After the legislation, we aim to support and establish more terrestrial protected areas in Palawan. So we're moving down south of Palawan to establish another critical habitat called Sultan Peak. And since we're a very small organization, much of our manpower comes from volunteers, from students who help us with the daily grind of our work. So you can head over to our website, centerforsustainabilityph.org, and our programs are there. We do have a lot of volunteer opportunities if you're interested in joining us on ground, and also you can also donate to our programs and our project. The details are also in our website. We're also active on social media, specifically Facebook and Instagram, and you can find us at Center for Sustainability PH Inc.
Well, that is the research program coordinator for the Center for Sustainability Philippines, Aubrey Jane Padilla. Maraming salamat. Thank you very much for joining us.
Yeah.
Global weather is up next. Keep it here. You're still watching Weather HQ on BNC, the Bilyonaryo News Channel. Back, this is Weather HQ. Let's check the global weather. In Spain, residents of Malaga brace themselves for further heavy rain and storms 2 weeks after rain and flash floods prompted rivers to overflow in Valencia and other parts of the country. Spanish Weather Bureau IMET issued red alerts on Wednesday morning for eastern Tarragona and southern Malaga, indicating these areas should expect as much as 180 millimeters of heavy to torrential rain within 12 hours. That amount of rainfall could cause rivers to overflow and generate flash floods. Emergency services in Malaga said that 15 people were evacuated in Benalmádena when a wall collapsed, and they have moved 3,000 people from homes at high risk of flooding near the Guadalhorce River west of the city. All train services in Malaga province were halted. Stronger winds and dry conditions were hindering firefighters to control the stubborn wildfire burning in a forested stretch along the New Jersey state border. The fire has consumed over 2,000 hectares of brush and woodland near Greenwood Lake. Authorities are actively fighting the blaze, supported by over 375 firefighters working to establish fire lines. The National Weather Service issued a red flag warning for parts of New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, Massachusetts, and Rhode Island, anticipating winds and gusts of up to 72 kph and low humidity around 20%. The region is experiencing one of the driest autumns on record, though firefighters received brief relief with some measurable rain this week. That's the latest weather information here on Weather HQ. I'm Paolo del Rosario. See you again tomorrow, whatever the weather, here on BNC, the Bilyonaryo News Channel. Stay safe, everyone.